story. I do have a little guest with me. Come here, say hi.
Hi.
So this is Christian. He is 2 years old and he's my first baby. And I am going to be telling you my labor and delivery story with this little man. Okay, do you want to stay here while I film?
Yeah.
I'm going to be discussing with you guys my labor and delivery stories for both of my kids. It's not going to be super long and you'll find out why once I tell you the story. And also because these, both of my pregnancies and labor and deliveries happened a while ago. One was a year ago and the other one was 2 years ago. So I don't have like every piece of the story, but I have like the big juicy parts, and that's the most fun to hear, right? So I am just going to jump right in and tell you what happened with both of my labor and deliveries. If you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button down below. That way you can be notified for any new video that I put out, and also you could be a part of this family that I'm trying to create, and I would appreciate it forever. Okay, so the first time I got pregnant, I had a wonderful pregnancy. I felt fine. I was basically all belly. I worked all the way up until I gave birth. I didn't really have any bad, side effects, no nausea, nothing like that. I had an overall good pregnancy. Towards the end of my pregnancy, we decided that I was going to be induced the day of my due date, on my due date. So me and my doctor decided that on my due date, I would be induced if he didn't come sooner. Now, I know that is a heated topic, and people debate about the drugs for being induced and things like that, but it was something that me and my doctor decided to do. I fully 150% trusted my doctor, and she told me everything was fine. And the reason behind that is I had a pretty demanding job, and in New York, let's be honest, maternity leave is horrible for a woman. I believe natural birth, you get 6 weeks and it's not even paid. You get disability, which is nothing. And then if you have a C-section, it's 8 weeks not paid. So it's just not good. So with both my pregnancies, I kind of saved up, so it was kind of like I was being paid while I was away, which is just something that I did that I felt comfortable with, and it stressed me out less knowing, that I had the money to handle our bills and things like that. So what happened was we decided to induce me the day that Christian was due. And what I did was I did have 1 week left of vacation to use, so I used that the week before the due date, kind of just to get ready. If he came on his own, great, that would have been fine. We were totally prepared for that if that was the case, but that was our plan if he didn't come before his due date. So I took the week off right before, knowing that I would have this baby either on July 22nd or July 23rd, if not sooner. So we planned to be induced. He did not come in that week so on July 21st, we went in that night and they gave me something to help soften my cervix. It did give me a little bit of cramping, but nothing painful. It did soften my cervix as from what the nurses told me, so that worked out good. And then that morning we scheduled everything. So my family came in, my husband's family came in, and everyone was with me that morning. My doctor did give me the epidural before giving me the drug to induce labor, which is Pitocin. I've never heard someone say that before. I've never heard of doctors doing that, but my doctor did. It was amazing. So I didn't feel any contractions, not one. I did not have one contraction, which is amazing. I feel like my labor and delivery story kind of was so good. I'm blessed because I know there are nightmare stories out there, but it didn't get me scared to have another child. Like, I didn't have anything that traumatized me. It was just all good, and I am grateful for my doctor for giving me that. So I get my epidural, and what they do is they start the Pitocin. After they start the Pitocin, or maybe I think before they started the Pitocin, they broke my water. I'm not sure in which order, but they were close. So she broke my water, and then I got the Pitocin, or I got the Pitocin, and then she broke my water. I'm not sure. And I think I was only like 2 centimeters dilated at the time that the Pitocin started and that I got the epidural. Now, once everything was done, meaning Pitocin was given, epidural was given, and my water was broken, the doctor comes in and she kind of tells my family, like, this could be a while. It's her first pregnancy and she's induced, which most of the times when you're induced, it take a while for it to kick in and for you to start pushing when you're fully dilated. So my parents and my family decided to stay, and my husband's family kind of was like, okay, we're gonna go grab something to eat, keep us posted. If anything dramatic changes, we'll be right back. We're close to the hospital. So we said, okay. Now, I don't know the time frame that this happened, but it had to be quick because, okay, so then my nurse comes in and she comes to check me, and while she's checking me to see if like I dilated or anything, her face kind of changes, and she kind of looks puzzled and like confused, and right away I sense that type of stuff, and it kind of, you know, goes onto my feelings, and I start feeding off your energy. So I start getting nervous, and I'm looking at my sister who saw her do that too, and my husband, and I'm just like, why did her face change? Like, something's not going, like something's up, but she's not telling me. So I asked her, I'm like, is everything okay? And she's like, you know, I'm just gonna call the doctor. I just want her to check something. You know, it's okay. And then I think at that point she saw me, you know, getting really anxious and just like, you know, what's going on? Can you tell me that type of stuff? And she says to me, oh, okay, like I'm not trying to scare you and I want the doctor to confirm this, but I think you're like 10 centimeters dilated. And I just look at my husband, I'm just like, oh my goodness, they just told me that this could be all day, that I might even have the baby the next day. So we're kind of just all like looking at each other, and now it's starting to become real. So my doctor comes in and she checks me and she confirms, you're 10, you're gonna start pushing. And in that like 15 minutes, I want to say, I started to feel like I had to push, which is really funny because it was just like a chain reaction. It was so quick. So my husband calls his family. They didn't even make it to where they were going to go get food, and they had to turn around and come back. Like, that is how quick it happened. Like, I'm not even joking. And by the time I think they got to the hospital, I had the baby. When I did start pushing, I only had to push, I think, 3 sets of 3 pushes, which is not a lot at all. I think it was like 20 minutes of pushing. I pushed really well. My doctor even said to me, you were born to bear children. Like, I just could push. Because sometimes what happens when you're on the epidural is you don't feel the contraction, so you don't push right. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll lower your epidural, so you start feeling the contraction, so you push better. But I didn't need that. We kept the epidural the whole time. I didn't feel a thing. I knew exactly when I had to push. I even like told my doctor, okay, I have to push. Like, I prepared then. That's how strong it felt. But it didn't hurt. There was no pain whatsoever. So Christian was born, I believe he was born July 22nd at 12:52 p.m. He was 8 pounds, 4 ounces, and 19 inches long. So he was a big baby. I did tear, so I did have a lot of stitches. The healing with Christian wasn't so good. I mean, there was a lot of swelling and things like that. And it's funny because I brought a dress as my to-go-home outfit because I was so nervous about just the labor. I didn't think about afterwards when you had to heal. So all the nurses were just hysterical that I brought the wrong type of underwear and the wrong type of clothes to go home. So yeah, that was my labor and delivery story with Christian. It happened so fast and it was painless because of the, you know, things that I decided with my doctor prior to having Christian, and it just all worked out. I don't regret one thing. It was perfect. I enjoyed every minute. There was no pain. There was no, you know, surprises, which I am lucky for because I know you can't control these types of things. And it was just perfect. I got to experience all like the energy in the air and just him and the whole birth process, because nothing was like in my way from that. Nothing steered me away from feeling those feelings. So it was amazing. They put him on my chest and I was just in love. It was seriously one of the best days of my life. Having a child is just a huge blessing, and it was seriously the best day of my life.